Red Sox will say wait till next year for the 85th straight year, and rarely has it been so excruciating. The Yankees will go to their 39th World Series, and rarely has the trip been so exhilarating. Welcome to our Sports Desk special Yankees postgame coverage after an absolute epic Game 7, won by the Yankees in 11 innings, 6-5. John Giannone, Jim Leyritz, Keith Hernandez, Al Trautwig across the hall, Kurt Menefee, Anthony Fucilli out at Yankee Stadium. And where do we start except to say Aaron Boone, forever a Yankee hero?
Yeah, I think so. At the beginning of the series, we were saying that maybe this guy's not going to be back next year, but I think now he'll be back.
Keith and Al, Aaron Boone 2 for 16 in the series, 5 for 31 in the playoffs before that swing against Tim Wakefield.
John, maybe the least likely Yankee to hit a game-winning home run. Since being acquired from Cincinnati, he has shown absolutely no power at Yankee Stadium. He has shown no power in the postseason. It's his first home run in the postseason, and it comes like this. And I bet if you listen to Yankee fans when he stepped to the plate in the 11th inning, they were saying, oh, no, because they got the feeling that one swing had to do it.
You said it.
I did. I said it.
It's unbelievable. I can't. I mean, the Yankees just showed character, and gosh almighty, the home run to get the 5-2 lead, and what do? In the 8th inning, they come back and get 3. I mean, this team's got character. You just got to hand it to them. It's a great ball club, a great franchise.
And guys, I just thought that relying on a knuckleballer who's one mistake away from ending the ball game was a little bit much for Grady Little. I think Scott Williamson might have been a better choice, but that's all said and done now, and the GOAT still lives, and so does the Bambino.
Yeah, and Al, we'll talk about all of that, all the chess moves and the machinations from these managers, but you're right, and where have we heard this before? A franchise that's cursed with a 3-run lead, 5 outs to go until a win. The Red Sox had that in this game. The Cubs had that in Game 6. Neither one of those teams are going to the World Series.
And I don't believe in curses. I don't know about you guys, but when
I never did, but I swear stuff, I do now.
When you see Alex Gonzalez botch that ground ball and you see this, what?
Right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, there has to be a curse. Something's up, because both those teams in those situations where they both had a chance to win, neither one of them comes out the winner, and they're both going home. And you got to think they're cursed. You have to think that.
I agree. I wanted to first, though, before we start anything else quickly, how badly do you think Grady Little managed this game?
Well, it's one of those things I think he really managed with his heart right there. You go out there, you have Pedro out there. Going into this game as a manager, you have to say, if he gives me 6 or 7 innings, I got what I need. And then I'm going to go to my bullpen. My bullpen has been my strength this whole playoff series. Alan Embry's out there. Mike Tillen's out there. These guys have not given up a run. I know he walked out there, and I mentioned to you that Joe Torre did the same thing to David Cohn in '96 and walked out and said, hey, this is your game. Do you want it? Can you get this guy out? And David Cohn said yes. But I really believe here that Pedro, after his last outing, really had a tough time and gave him everything he could. And I think at that point, he should have went to his bullpen.
Yeah, Keith and Al, after Grady Little came to the mound in that 8th inning, 2 straight doubles, and all of a sudden the game was tied.
Yeah, but John, up until that point, the Yankees had given the Red Sox every indication that this was their game, but not this moment. I don't know about curses, but I do know this. Yankee Stadium is blessed to have as many unbelievable moments as we have had just since 1996. Forget prior to that. This in its 100th year. The New York Yankees in their 100th year cap it off. And when you think of Roger Clemens having to leave in the 4th inning, when you think of David Wells giving up that home run, when you think of Kevin Millar being shoved to the ground by the curse of the Bambino from above, it seemed, and the Yankees didn't take advantage of that. There were so many things that the Yankees didn't take advantage of until that final moment.
Well, I just think you got to give credit to Boston and the pitching. They held the Yankee bats down. It's a very potent lineup. It's just incredible. I think that I have no problem with Grady Little staying with his ace, Martinez, in the 8th and pitching to Matsui. But when Matsui got the 0-2 double on a pitch he got over the middle, I would have had to go to my bullpen. And you know what? Posada got a blooper. There was 2 outs. The inning's over. He got a bloop, double for 2 RBIs that tied the game.
And on that bloop, he went to second base, and the Yankees didn't get him in. That was another one of those times. Anyway, let's begin our march through this game by going way back to the 1st inning when everything was so different for these two teams in what was a titanic Game 7. In the top of the 1st inning, Roger Clemens. Inside to Todd Walker. Outside to Todd Walker. Inside. Right down the middle. What kind of stuff did we think he had at this point, guys?
Well, he was going pretty good there. He was getting the ball down in the zone, and when he made this mistake right here, he got the ball down, and Todd Walker did a nice job. I think it was a 10-pitch at bat. He did a great job of fouling off. I really thought he had, Roger had some pretty good stuff going in here, but Todd Walker made him throw a lot of pitches, and I think that might have helped a little bit.
But Clemens got out of the first inning, and at that point you wondered. But we go to the top of the second inning and see how things unfolded then for the Boston Red Sox. Again, Clemens, he didn't push. He didn't seem to have the buzz on his fastball. And Jim, where was that splitter?
Well, yeah, it totally disappeared tonight. That was his best pitch last time out. And this time out, you can see right here, every ball he's throwing is right down the middle. And those 22 pitches or 21 pitches in the first inning might have had some effect coming out here in the second inning.
Trot Nixon crushed it. He got all of it, Keith.
Well, I always felt that Roger had a chance to beat this ball club because he throws the high fastball, and this club was swinging at high balls and getting him out high. He got hurt with everything belt high and down.
This is when it got worse. Jason Varitek, the very next batter, goes in with the high throw into second base. That brought up Johnny Damon. Now remember, Enrique Wilson started in this game for the first time in the series simply because he's had a history of hitting Pedro Martinez. Joe Torre pushed that button, and it came back to haunt him as this error allows the third run to score, and that's where the Red Sox were. Let's go to Grady Little.
He had enough left in his tank there to finish off Posada. He made some good pitches to him. He squeezed the ball off his handle out over the infield. There's nothing we can do about it now.
One or two more. Keep this moving tonight. Buster, over there.
What did you ask Pedro when he went to the mound?
What did you ask Pedro when you went to the mound?
Pedro wanted to stay in there. He wanted to get the job done, just as he has many times for us all season long. And he's the man we all wanted on the mound.
Who else? Nothing else for Grady after he walked all the way down here?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, obviously Grady Little wanted to get out of that situation as soon as possible. Very difficult situation for him, but you heard him say, basically, if I was going to go down, I was going down with my best pitcher, and eventually that's what happened.
Yeah, Grady's pretty much a stand-up guy, and he's been that way all season for these Red Sox. And as a player, I played for him, and he was a bench coach in '98, and that's the kind of guy he is. You know what? He says, I'm going to stay with you, and if I lose with you, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I lost with my best guy, and I think that's what, one of the reasons maybe he didn't go to the bullpen tonight.
All right, let's go back out to Yankee Stadium. Our Kurt Menefee is standing by where no doubt it is still pandemonium. Kurt?
Well, the pandemonium still continues out here, as you might expect. This crowd was really quiet up until that eighth inning when they went absolutely nuts, and why not? They had Pedro on the ropes. They knocked him out and got him out of that ball game. Had a chance afterwards to speak with Aaron Boone, who hit the home run that sends the Yankees back in the World Series for the sixth time in 8 years, and he was absolutely speechless. He said, that coming to this team, obviously from the Cincinnati Reds, a team that hasn't gone anywhere in quite a while, he cannot put into words what it feels like to be the guy to hit the home run to send the team to the World Series, especially after he struggled for so long. I also had a chance to talk with Grady Little, the manager for the Boston Red Sox, and I asked him, I said, well, Pedro Martinez came out and was strong for 7+ innings, but in that eighth inning, obviously he was on the ropes. Why'd you leave him in there? And his explanation was, Pedro's our man. So we won with him, we're going to lose with him, and I think unfortunately for him, he lost with him. How he got to 123 pitches in an inning where he went in with a 3-run lead and the Yankees were knocking him around, he was still in the ball game, I find it hard to understand. But then again, that may explain why the Yankees are off to the World Series, and the Boston Red Sox right now are going home without a World Series once again. John?
All right, Kurt Menefee, thanks very much. Go get to work, talk to some of the players and coaches, managers, and I'm sure, Jim Leyritz, that Grady Little is probably going to wake up about every day between now and spring training and replay this game. How many times do you think he's going to take Pedro out and bring Alan Embry in? I
think a couple hundred times. Yeah, it's going to be one of those things. He's going to wake up a lot at night because, like you said, that is a situation where your bullpen has come up for you, big for you. And whether Pedro's been the man all year after his last outing, and now, like I said, he gave you 7 strong, you have an opportunity to go to your bullpen.
But, Jimmy, do you think at any point Grady Little is sitting there thinking, yeah, the bullpen's been great in the postseason, but it was so bad for so long?
It could be that. That could be in the back of his mind. That could be the one excuse you could say, yeah, you know what, it's been bad. But for me, like Joe Torre does, I go with my hunch in the postseason. And who's hot in the postseason? His bullpen was hot in the postseason. I go to my bullpen right there.
All right, let's continue the breakdown of this one. We were when we left off, it was 3-0 Red Sox. Now top 4, and Boston adds to the lead, and it's Kevin Millar, who has been somewhat disappointing in the series. Uppercut swing, and this time he gets it all.
Yeah, Roger left the fastball up. Like we said, he's been getting the ball up the whole time, and Kevin went up there thinking first pitch fastball, and took a good swing on it and hit it out.
And the spot where that ball landed will get a little more action in about 3 hours after that. Another look at the swing. And now we move on after a walk to Trot Nixon. Perfectly executed hit and run. Bill Miller slaps it into the vacated spot, center field. So that's first and third. And Jimmy, why did that work so well?
Well, it looked like on the replay they show right here, both infielders are combining on the bag.
Why?
There was a little bit of probably miscommunication on who was going to cover right there. In that situation, Roger was going away. I would have thought Jeter would have been staying at home, and Soriano would have been covering, so Jeter would have been there to catch the ball.
Okay, so the loud standing ovation for Clemens, who could have at that point pitched his final pitch in the major leagues. Mike Mussina comes on, and boy, did he redeem himself from a disappointing playoff. Strikes out Varitek and gets Johnny Damon on the 6-3 double play.
Yeah, here's a chance Moose comes back on 2 days rest. Maybe he's better on 2 days rest than 9 days. It's a situation. he did come in and do the job, and like I said, that was a big inning for them to get out of. First and third, nobody out. Moose did a great job of getting out of that inning.
Yeah, Al, we heard Joe Torre say after Game 6, all hands on deck except for Andy Pettitte, and he specifically named Mike Mussina, and boy, did he get the job done.
Yeah, and he'll worry about his World Series rotation tomorrow morning, I'm sure. Inside the Yankee clubhouse, and you saw they were not ready for this celebration. They were putting up the plastic as it began. It didn't take long for the champagne to arrive. It was one of those deals, I'm sure, where it was on a cart between both clubhouses at the stadium, and they just waited to find out which way to wheel it. So that's a great feeling.
It's a great feeling, and I think you saw the emotion there in that Yankee clubhouse, and this was a hard-fought series, and they had their backs to it, and you can just see the emotion. You saw Mariano Rivera. It seemed like he was crying on the ground. I haven't seen that kind of emotion from the Yankees. I mean, this was a really, really tough 7-game series.
It was gut-wrenching all the way to the final out. It was a series that just didn't want to end. Now, if you want an indication of what Pedro Martinez was allowing the Yankees in the early innings, you can go to the bottom of the fourth and check things out, as we will right now, because he was not allowing the Yankees to string hits together at all. It is 4-0 Red Sox at this point. Yankee fans are wondering, can we respond? Well, there were 2 outs when Hideki Matsui drilled this ball over Johnny Damon's head, but again, it came with 2 outs. So what would Pedro give the Yankees after this? Well, Jorge Posada would find out in a hurry.
Well, he gets him on a little sinker away, and he gets him to pull the ball right to the first baseman to end the inning.
So that's sort of the feeling of desperation that the Yankees carried way late into this game.
Well, Joe also juggled his lineup. I didn't mind the idea of so much putting Nick Johnson in the second hole today and batting Jeter third. I was a bit surprised with flip-flopping Matsui and Posada. But, in the long run, what happens? Yankees 6, Boston 5. That's all that matters.
Then finally, in the bottom of the 5th inning, the Yankees struck. Jason Giambi hit the first of 2 home runs, and that was just a glimmer of hope for the Yankees. But again, he allowed the Yankees nothing after that. But here's a look at it. Giambi moved to the 7th spot in the batting order. That is one button that Joe Torre pushed properly tonight, because here's the response.
Well, they put him in a 7 hole. He's been struggling in the 3, and what does he do? He hits 2 solo home runs. And you would think, Al, with Wilson hitting behind him, not someone with great protection, that you'd pitch him a little more carefully. And this was a good pitch right here that Jason hit, so you got to tip his hat. He responded. I think he was maybe upset putting down the 7th hole. What did he do?
So through 5, John, as we move through this recap, the Yankees had a run, but Pedro was looking very stingy.
He was, and would it be a portent of things to come? No, it wouldn't. But you know what? We just got word from people on the scene at Yankee Stadium. An unbelievable scene unfolding. David Wells, Roger Clemens, and Mel Stottlemyre are walking toward Monument Park. They're heading to the Babe Ruth Monument with a bottle of champagne. How's that grab you, Jimmy?
That's pretty nice. That's pretty good. That's something that I hope they're taking a motion picture of, because that's the curse. And they're going out there to thank him, I'm sure. And Roger has his little routine he does every game before, but. That's a pretty good, probably a pretty surreal scene, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I know everybody knows about David Wells and his passion for Babe Ruth. A short time ago, our Anthony Fucilli in that joyous Yankee clubhouse with Bernie Williams.
It don't get any better than this, I would think.
No, it did not get any better than this. This is a great stage. 2 of the best pitchers in their generation going head-to-head. Game in extra innings, a home run to end the game in Yankee Stadium. They're winning with the pinstripes, winning the American League Championship. I mean, how can it get any better than this?
Talk about Jeter's at bat with 2 strikes, and then you're at bat in that 8th.
Yeah, it was just a situation that he took a great pitch from Timling and drove it the other way for a double. And I was just trying to, from Pedro, and then I was just trying to put the ball in play, trying to get that run in, and then everything started coming from there.
The job that Mussina did, and then Mariano.
It was just amazing, to see Mo.
All right, and that is the end result of what we were telling you. This is live at Yankee Stadium. The threesome heading back in. Roger Clemens, David Wells, and Mel Stottlemyre. No doubt a little bubbly in their system, having just sat for a few minutes at Monument Park, chatting about the curse of the Bambino, which lives on 85 years strong, because as we speak, the Yankees are going to the World Series and the Boston Red Sox are going home, and I'm sure it is going to be a winter of high discontent for the Boston Red Sox, who thought they had this World Series, 5 outs to go in a 3-run lead, and they couldn't hold it. And the biggest reason why is because Grady Little decided to stay with his starter, Pedro Martinez, when it appeared as though Martinez was in the process of folding.
Yeah, just one of those things, just a little bit too long. Like I said, when you come to the park, you have a game plan in mind, and I have to believe if he's going to give me 7 innings, he's giving me everything he can. And I've got the guys that have done the job so far this series that are hot. I need to go to them, and unfortunately he didn't go.
But should pitch count matter, Jim? 123 pitches from a guy who has not pitched that great, certainly not Pedro level great, in the playoffs.
Well, it's like I said, I go to my bullpen, and there's no question for me that I would have not gone to my bullpen because these guys have done the job. Joe Torre was not afraid in '96 to go to Graham Lloyd and David Weathers after they proved to him that they can go get these guys out in a tough situation, and Grady's bullpen had proved that to him.
All right, let's go back out to Yankee Stadium. Jason Giambi batting 7th in the order for the first time since '99, delivered with 2 home runs, and he spoke a short time ago.
Words can't describe it. Unbelievable to be a part of this, and the way the series went down all season long, all series long. To have this game and answer like that, words can't describe it.
What are you thinking today when this team comes back and the way it fought back?
Oh my! I mean, it's been us all year long. You know, Derek Jeter's been down, Bernie Williams went down, Nick Johnson went down. I've been battling injuries the whole year, and you know, to come in here and walk in here today facing Pedro Martinez and be down by 3 runs, you know, coming down 1 inning, unbelievable.
83-4 when he had a 4-run lead.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. And then to come away and you knew he was going to come down, and then Mo, what he's done all playoff long is unspeakable. What he's been doing on the mound, and to have him do that, and then Aaron Boone, who step up there 1 pitch and a homer, and God, that's what these games are made of.
How about the way you responded? They dropped you to 7. And then
I came in and Skip had said, I've been struggling, and I've been battling injuries the whole year, and he said, why don't we just drop you down to 7? Got good numbers against Pedro, and I just went up there and said, what, let's go.
Well, tremendous vindication for a player like Jason Giambi, who had a 40-home run season, to be sure, but never really exhibited the power in the postseason at all. And then he comes up with 2 home runs in the same game and gives the Yankees belief and hope that they can come back. And then he hands it off to Derek Jeter, who, no surprise, starts the rally. Jorge Posada, Bernie Williams involved. And then vindication again in the end for Aaron Boone. Well,
it's just all the buttons that Joe pushes seems to come out roses for him. And we were talking a bit prior, in that 8th inning, we were saying that Jeter, the last 3 games, they've gotten him out. And what did he do? He put it all behind him. And with the 1 out, he gets the double that starts the rally. He's in the middle of everything in this lineup.
And can you imagine the relief of Roger Clemens, who's dealt with closure in his career, walking off in the 4th inning, feeling that he didn't give the team what they needed in this night? The fans at Yankee Stadium were great. They gave him a standing ovation because Yankee fans and fans in this town always sensed the moment. They knew exactly what was happening. That could have been the end of a Hall of Fame career, and now here he is. It's like the governor just called at the last minute and said, don't end the career just yet.
Well, everybody was talking about if it was his last game and he loses to Boston, his team he started with. But you know something? The unsung hero here is kind of lost in all this. And this game has so many facets, and where the game could have gone one way or the other is Messina came in and did a great job. Came in that 1st and 3rd situation with nobody out, got the strikeout, the double play. That could have blown the game wide open. He is the unsung hero of this game.
Mike Messina, who was 0-3 in the postseason so far, made that huge contribution, as Keith said. One of the most interesting aspects of the game was Joe Torre, obviously very reluctant to go out to Gabe White or Jose Contreras and Jeff Weaver. And you wonder, and we'll never know this, how long was Mariano Rivera going to pitch tonight? Because I think he was going to pitch until it was decided one way or another.
Well, one thing with the American League and the designated hitter is that you can leave your reliever in there forever or your starter. So who knows? I think that Joe would have probably gone as far as he had to with Mariano.
It's been a long and tumultuous season for Joe Torre. The emotions came out when the game was over. He spoke to Anthony Fucilli moments ago.
Joe, I remember this year in Fenway, you said after a game, I was mentally and physically exhausted. What were you after this game?
It was starting to scare me. You got Mo out there 1 inning, 2 innings, 3 innings, and we got to score. We got to score, and we're at home, and that's what home field advantage is all about. Is you score and you go on in the clubhouse after 9 innings or in 9 innings from the 9th inning on. 4-0. Pedro looked like he had his good stuff, and then all of a sudden Jason had a home run, and you can feel the air getting back in our lungs. And then when it became 4-2, everybody started getting really excited about it. And then of course Boomer came in, and that Ortiz, I'm glad we're not going to see him in Miami. He has killed us this year. Boomer looked like he made a pretty good curveball to him. He hit the ball out of the ballpark and extended the lead. But these kids don't quit. It was really so satisfying. I love all the other teams that have won, but when you consider, who we beat here in Game 7, this has to be the sweetest of all.
Pedro's 83-4 when he has a 4-run lead. How do you explain what happened to Boston here today? Is there a curse?
Well, he had a 4-run lead on us earlier this year, and he's a great pitcher. He's a great pitcher, and I thought he was able to put everything that happened earlier in the series away and kept his focus pretty good. You have to give him credit for that. But, as I say, we don't quit.
Anthony Fucilli with the Yankee manager, and you'd think the people in Boston would learn by now, but they probably never will. How about this? If you took a picture of Fenway Park right now, Jim Leyritz, you would see the World Series emblem painted on the field. They did that while this game was being played, anticipating a World Series at Fenway Park. That emblem will probably have to come off right away.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Yankees have Yogi, and Yogi says it's never over till it's over, and sure enough, they proved that today.
Yeah, and we found that out. Let's continue our recap of the game as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Boston still had a 4-1 lead. Pedro Martinez was still in the game, and Jason Giambi was still batting 7th, and he was up for the 3rd time in the game, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people lost this in the game. Jason Giambi, these 2 home runs really gave the Yankees some hope. And this is the 2nd home run right here. Johnny Damon goes up and almost makes the catch. But like I said, Jason came through big time when he had to.
That's a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, so at that point he still had some strength.
Yeah, he was still throwing the ball pretty good. And like I said, that's probably one of the reasons Grady Little thought he had something left in the tank. But they get the bad hop here, and then Kevin Millar, this is what Al was talking about.
Yeah.
The Bambino pulled him down. And, right here you see the ball take a bad hop. Now, he had a chance to flip it right here. He probably could have done that and got the out, but unfortunately he made the decision to try to go for the bag. Then Garcia gets a base hit right here. We thought maybe we might see Ruben Sierra there because Ruben could have hit the ball out of the park. And then he goes ahead, and he'd been getting Soriano all night on that outside fastball.
Yep, that was your golden sombrero right there. That was the 4th strikeout of Soriano on the game. Let's go back out to Yankee Stadium. More from Kurt Menefee with Bernie Williams.
All right, guys, we are with Bernie Williams. You get to go to the World Series for the 6th time in 8 years. Is this any more special because of the way you get there?
Obviously, anytime, it never gets old, It was a great win, probably one of the greatest games that I've ever played, and I was just so glad to be a part of it. And yeah, it makes it really special to play, against the Red Sox, to win the way that we did. It obviously makes it very special.
Tell me what it's like when you go into that 8th inning, you're down 5-2, and Pedro was really on at that point.
Yeah, he was, and he was still, pretty much in control at that point. I think Derek took a good pitch from him, a high fastball that he has been dominating in the game, and he drove it the other way. And then I just had a good at bat, hit the ball up the middle, and then, everything started sort of falling for us. And that, sort of took our momentum and just kept it going. And, it was great to see.
You look at this chance as a chance for any redemption off 2001 because fans talk about, losing that one and how much that one hurt in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, I think, obviously we still haven't finished our work. We obviously looking forward to the challenge, in the World Series, and let's see what happens there.
I saw you go out and spend some time in the outfield, just by yourself and with your family. What was the thought there?
It was just, being grateful, giving thanks to God, for letting us win. And just being very grateful about, for the opportunity.
How much do you know about the Florida Marlins?
We know some. Putch has been, we've been facing Putch, for the last, 10 years now. And some of the pitchers, I'm pretty sure, they're going to have a good scouting report, on the guys, for us tomorrow.
All right, enjoy this. We'll see you Saturday in Game 1 of the World Series.
Thank you very
much. Yankee center fielder Bernie Williams. John, back to you.
All right, Kurt Menefee, thanks very much. And, we're going to go back out to the podium and hear more Yankees, and we're going to hear from Aaron Boone. 6 home runs in 56 games for the Yankees during the regular season, but this one will last in Yankee memories forever. Aaron Boone with a huge home run, bigger than huge if there's possible, to win the ALCS. Let's hear from Aaron Boone, then we'll comment.
Shut that cowboy up, huh? Shut him down, buddy.
Okay. Once again, like when we have 2 people up here, please let me know who your question's for. Ed, you got to wait for the microphone right behind you. There you go.
Aaron, in your life at any level, anything like this, anything, Little League, high school, anything?
Oh, yeah. This ranks up there. No. No, I mean, come on. This is, I still can't even put it into words. I mean, just to have the opportunity to, so many people today had a huge hand in this, and for us to come back like that and, to be in that spot and to get the chance, and, it's humbling. This game humbles you all the time in good ways and bad ways.
Yes.
And it's been humbling a little bit lately for me in a bad way, and this is just the same, and, it's humbling. It's a humbling game, and right now I feel that way.
Who else? For either of them. Okay, Roger back there.
Mariano, could you discuss, what you're thinking as you have to keep going back out for another inning and shut them down again?
Well, I was thinking there's no way that we had to give up this game. I had to do my best and hold the lead right there, so give a chance to Boone to hit that home run. It was good. It was good. It was a tremendous game. I'm proud of my team. I'm proud of my teammates. They did tremendous. They pitched. It was outstanding.
Who else?
All right, that's Mariano Rivera, who pitched 3 innings in a game for the first time since '96, and he gets the win as the Yankees win the ALCS. Plenty more to come right here on our Sports Desk special Yankees postgame. Yankees going to the World Series because of that swing right there from Aaron Boone. More to come.
You're watching MSG Sports Desk, presented by Toyota. Get the feeling. Toyota.
Back here at Yankee Stadium, where the Yankees are headed back to the World Series for the 6th time in 8 years, joined by the general manager, Brian Cashman. And I see you're all wet. Are you drenched with perspiration from being nervous at the end of this game, or is that celebratory champagne?
It's probably a little bit of both, but thankfully most of it is the champagne, and that's what I came here. I brought a change of clothes because I expected to celebrate, and thankfully, thanks to Aaron Boone, we were able to do that.
Tell me about the emotional ride that you went through tonight. Your team got down big. Pedro seemed like he was on, and then all of a sudden the floodgates opened for you.
Brutal. There's no doubt about it. Sitting through a game like that, you do the emotional roller coaster back and forth. You don't have the luxury of being on that field, playing in the game, where you can run around, get the adrenaline going to distract you, and fielding ground balls or throwing pitches or swinging the bat. You're sitting up there and you're starting to think about, do I have to give a phone call congratulating another club, or am I going to get wet? And you go back and forth when you're close. We had missed opportunities early, a tough error by Enrique Wilson, and you start thinking about all these things. But again, late in the game, we were a different team and put the pressure on them, and they folded like a cheap suit.
Do you take any satisfaction out of so much of the season was talked about the bullpen not being there, and then you got Aaron Boone, and he really didn't hit very well after coming over here, but it was your bullpen, with the exception of the home run to Ortiz, Heredia, Nelson, obviously Mariano, that held the game where it was, and then Boone gets the big home run in extra innings. Any satisfaction in that?
Damn right. Yeah. No doubt about it. You have to get into the World Series. And it's such a tough thing to get to. You deal with so much adversity. Absolutely. No matter what now, no one can say anything. This team is the American League champs. We're in the World Series. You can tear it down any way you want, but you know what? You can't take away the title that we just won in the American League, and we're going for one more.
Have you had a chance to talk to George Steinbrenner yet?
No, I have not, but I know he's happy as heck somewhere, and he's going to be walking the streets proud of New York like he should be.
How much do you know about the Florida Marlins?
I know they're good. I know they're young. I know they're athletic. I'll know a lot more tomorrow because our advanced meeting starts at 1 o'clock. So.
All right, well, get some sleep. I got a feeling you probably won't between now and then, but give it a try anyway. Congratulations once again.
Thanks.
All right, that's Yankee General Manager Brian Cashman going back to the World Series. John?
All right, Kurt Menefee, thanks very much. And clearly you can tell. Brian Cashman drunk with excitement right there, and you heard the reaction from Brian Cashman, who said we put the pressure on Boston and they folded like a cheap suit. Now this is the Jason Giambi home run, and the reaction of the man you just heard in an interview. There's Pedro looking at it, and here's Giambi crushing it. Brian Cashman, as you heard him say, was standing in his office and outside his office and pacing and wondering whether he was going to have to make a phone call or drenched with champagne. But surprised a little bit to hear a usually very mild-mannered general manager say the opposition folded like a cheap suit?
Oh, I think he had a little bit of that little bubbly in him a little bit. I've never seen Cashman with that much of a personality before. And it's actually kind of good to see. You can tell that he was excited. But you also got to realize, you know what, how much pressure that guy must have had on him. With George probably just every other inning calling him up, going, okay, get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy. And, you know, I've seen it before. I've been up in the suites watching the games, and George can be hell on a lot of people. Yep. And I think Cashman, like I said, right there was just showing all that emotion and everything and letting it all out. And like I said, it was nice to see him have a personality. And Alan, Keith, how emotionally satisfying it must be for the general manager who picked up Aaron Boone at the trade deadline, and now, boy, did that pay dividends.
The one thing I don't get is you don't want to fold a cheap suit, you know, because if you do, it gets all wrinkled. Remember the Yankee mentality here, especially George. Win or else. There is no other option. And the David Ortiz factor has been hanging over Brian Cashman all season long. He kept on Brian Cashman, George Steinbrenner, because the Yankees did not get Ortiz, and the Red Sox did. And when Ortiz hit that home run off of David Wells and the score was 5-2 and it felt like a dagger in the back, I can only imagine what Brian was thinking.
Well, there's a lot of pressure that's brought on this ball club because of George. George demands nothing but winning and excellence, and you can just see, I haven't seen this Yankee club except the time they won when they came from behind, when Torre was crying, it was 2 or 3 years ago. They haven't had this kind of an emotional win in 2-3 years. I mean, you can just see it on everybody's face. That's why I think Brian Cashman probably made a slip of the tongue and wishes he'll probably regret saying that they folded like a cheap suit.
This was one of those nights when these Yankees felt like the other Yankees who had spoiled so many of their fans. Now the inning that Red Sox fans will rue and regret for the rest of their time. 8th inning, Pedro Martinez is still in there, and Derek Jeter, a one-out double over the head of Trot Nixon in the corner. Yankee Stadium erupted. They're back in it. It is 5-2 at this point. They have just absorbed the David Ortiz home run before this inning. Now Bernie Williams delivers Derek Jeter, who's off to the races with a single and the RBI. It's 5-3. A visit from Grady Little. He asks Pedro Martinez, you want to keep going? He says yes. So he stays in the game, and Matsui rips an 0-2 pitch down the line. It goes up into the crowd, and I thought I may have seen a Yankee fan reach over and touch it. So the run doesn't score. It's 2nd and 3rd. Yankees not done. Pedro Martinez. Jorge Posada with a little bloop to center field. Now everybody on the Red Sox converges. Posada takes advantage and goes to second base. Matsui scores, and the Yankees have come all the way back 5-5. That is when Grady Little finally decided to rely on his bullpen that had been so good in this series and the postseason. Giambi a fly ball to center field. Alan Embry there. Embry was disappointed when Mike Timlin was brought on. And you don't like to see relief pitchers do this. The first thing he was asked to do was the intentional walk to Ruben Sierra. The next thing he does is walk Garcia on 4 straight pitches. Red Sox in trouble. But Timlin gets a weird ricochet and a great play from Todd Walker. He could have easily been leaning the wrong way, but the Yankees do not get any extra runs across, and so the game at that point was tied at 5, and off we were running to extra innings and all the drama that unfolded. We go back to Yankee Stadium and Kurt Menefee.
All right, guys, we have Yankee second baseman Alfonso Soriano, and I know I dragged you out of there. You were celebrating with your teammates. We appreciate you coming out, and we'll keep it quick. But just tell me about getting back to the World Series. This is your second time. You haven't been around as old as a lot of those other guys. The way it finished up, how special was it?
You know, very special night tonight because we win the game. You know, we lose 5-1, but we come back. You know, a lot of players, you know, a lot of veteran players, they know how they handle this situation, and we win the game tonight.
You struggled as much as anyone against Pedro. Talk about the performance he had, and then what was the difference when he got to the 8th inning? Was it simply fatigue, you believe?
You know, I think, you know, when this team, they know a lot of veteran players, they know how they play. and he very tough pitch. He got like a good breaking ball and good fastball and good location. But we lucky that then the inning we got little scored couple run and win the game in the 11th inning when the Boone hit the homer.
Tell me what you said to Aaron Boone the first time you had a chance to talk to him.
I thought to hang a lot, but I not talk about the situation because he had like more year than me and the big league, but he know how can handle the situation like that. And he knew play in the Yankees, but he play aggressive all the time. He play hard all the time.
Did you talk to him afterwards though and celebrate with him a little bit?
No, yeah, because I don't see him, but I maybe when I come back inside I see him now.
All right, so get back inside and talk to him.
All right, thank you.
Yankee second baseman Alfonso Soriano. John, back to you. Make it Al. Sorry, Al. We love you. And
so okay. I don't take that personally.
Spend an extra time with John because he's my sports desk partner. But you're still in our hearts because Angles is what we watch all day long, right?
Yeah, right, Kurt.
Yeah, okay.
Nice try. Meanwhile, you look at Alfonso Soriano. He has about 40 hours to work on his patience at the plate. He was not a factor offensively for the Yankees, but we'll see as the World Series unfolds. Meanwhile, if they were human, they envisioned what it would have been like to watch the Boston Red Sox celebrate at Yankee Stadium. Thus the relief when Mariano Rivera realized it was not going to happen. The curse lived for another year. The Yankees are moving to the World Series. We're back after this.
All right, we're back on our Sports Desk special Yankees playoff postgame report, and here it is. Beginning Saturday night in the Bronx, the Yankees and Florida Marlins in the World Series, and it'll probably be David Wells for the Yankees. Will it be rookie Dontrelle Willis for the Florida Marlins? We'll find out. The last time the Yankees and Marlins played each other was 2001. Dontrelle Willis was in high school. Let's go back to Yankee Stadium. More from Derek Jeter.
Derek, do you believe this game tonight? I mean, if you had written a script, you couldn't write it any better.
Man, some funny things happened in this stadium in October, and this was outstanding. This win is as big as it gets.
You're at bat with 2 strikes in the 8th. I mean, you started it off. Talk about that.
Well, you just want to get guys on base, and obviously facing Pedro, he was throwing the ball pretty well, but we just try to put the ball in play and get on it, and we were able to keep rolling from there.
Pedro's 83-4 when he had a 4-run lead. What made you guys believe that you could come back?
He's 83-5 now, so it doesn't make a difference. Ironically, Jorge was the one that tied the game, so we like to handle things on the field.
Talk about the performance of Musina and then Mariano going back out there.
Outstanding. I mean, this is a situation where everyone's available. I mean, Boomer came in the game, Moose came in the game, Heredia did an outstanding job, Nelly did a great job, and then we have Mo, so that's an advantage right there.
Probably one of the best games you've ever been a part of?
It was fun, man. It was exciting. The stadium was electric, and that's why we have the greatest fans in the world. All right.
Well, you have to call this one of the great games in Yankee history, period. I think Derek may be downplaying a little bit, but he leads a charmed life. That he was in the middle of that 8th inning rally should surprise no one.
Well, we said earlier,
he was hitting 215 going into that at-bat.
Well, how about what the Yankee team was hitting as a whole collectively, under 200? And we said, like we said earlier, we were saying they've got Jeter out the last 3 games, and what does he do? Right in the middle of it.
And since this was an all-hands-on-deck game, David Wells only pitched a little bit. Mike Mussina 3 innings. You got to figure David Wells, the man on the outs, may be the starter for Game 1. We'll see how that is. Meanwhile, here's what he was saying a few minutes ago at the stadium.
There with Clemens and poured some champagne.
Yeah, Roger Mel and I went out there and had to contribute to the man who started this whole damn thing. And you know what? It's great because it lives. It's always going to live. At least through Roger and my career it is. So it's just a good thing. I brought I got a little statue in my locker and I brought it out on the bench. And it worked, man. It's just something that we went out there and we beat a damn good team. And it's something that I take my cap off to those guys, but even more so with these guys because they prove that they're fighters.
So give me the play-by-play. What happened? You and one pour each?
Yeah, we all did it. We all did it together. Mel and Roger and I. Man, we got you, man. That's the man. You kidding me? That's the man.
If you are a Boston fan, you, I guess, would have to believe there is a curse.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's something that they shouldn't be ashamed of their team. I kid you not, they should not, because those guys went out and scratched and clawed and fought back, and I do tip my cap to Boston. They're a tremendous team, and they brought out the best in us, and vice versa.
Could you go Saturday if they named you the Game 1 starter?
I'm sure I can. Anything happens now, man. We're all ready to go, man. We're fired up.
Players are normally aloof to the stuff that fans get into, like the curse, like Babe Ruth. But David Wells, who's still a kid, I don't care what anybody says, and you may not like a lot of the things he does, but he embraces Yankee history. Bringing the Babe Ruth statue into the dugout is classic, and taking champagne out with Roger Clemens to celebrate with the Babe Ruth plaque in Monument Park is unbelievable.
Well, baseball players are a superstitious lot, Al, and this, like I said, was such an emotional series. It's just not surprising. I mean, I think David Wells encapsulated everything in this series. Respect the Boston team. They fought and clawed, but you know, they brought out the best in the Yankees, as he said. That was the perfect comments that he made in that interview.
What does it feel like to do something and then instantly know it's the greatest thing you've ever done in the sport that you love? Ask Aaron Boone, but he's a man of few words, so at least we know that runs in the family.
Unbelievable.
All right, we're back on Sports Desk, and you heard Keith Hernandez say that the Yankees' offense wasn't very strong during the course of the postseason. They're certainly not in the LCS, a .227 composite batting average for the Yankees. Let's go back out to Yankee Stadium. Kurt Menefee standing by. Kurt.
Well, we've got one of those guys who struggled, but he's still going to the World Series nonetheless. We've got first baseman Nick Johnson. And first of all, talk about just the emotions of this game, you know, being down so much, Pedro looking dominant, and then fighting back.
We just kept battling, and we just couldn't give up. It was 4-0, and you know, you just got to keep battling until the last out, and that's what we did. And Boone came up with a huge hit, and Mike did a great job when he came in. He held him to first and third, no runs, so that was great.
It wasn't, you know, just Aaron Boone. So many of you guys did struggle in this series. As we mentioned, batting just .220 as a team, .227, you know, coming into tonight. But was it nice to see a guy like Boone, who's really struggled since being traded over here, and even Giambi, who's struggled late in the season, be the guys to get the big hits tonight?
Yeah, it was huge. We're a team, and when we're not, you know, someone's not hitting, you got to pick them up. But Boston's got a great pitching staff and a great bullpen, so you got to give them credit, and we got to just battle each at bat and try to get on. And you know, you're not going to get a lot of hits, but you just got to get on and see what happens.
Were you surprised they stayed with Pedro so long in that 8th inning after you guys started putting something together?
Not really. He's a great pitcher, and he's got all the pitches, and might as well ride him out. And you know, we battled and got a couple breaks, and there we go.
Let's get a stats report on you. I'm looking down here at your right leg, and that's from where you fouled a pitch off, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a little, I don't know, cutter or sinker, and I felt it off my shin.
Do you feel it when you get a chance to go to the World Series? That pain still there right now?
Yeah, you
not
feel
as bad, huh?
Not as bad, but you feel it tomorrow. But I'll be all right.
You'll be okay, ready for Game 1, you think, or is that something you will know better tomorrow?
Oh, for sure. I'll be ready to go Game 1.
All right, congratulations on going back to the World Series.
Thank you.
All right, that's Yankee first baseman Nick Johnson. John, back to you.
All right, Kurt, thanks very much. And Jimmy, I'm thinking if that leg's broken, he'll probably be all right to play.
Yeah, it's got to be cut off, basically, not to go out and play in the World Series.
Well, you heard Kurt talking to Nick Johnson about the Yankees who struggled at the plate. Jorge Posada did until that 8th inning when he had about a 150-foot double that ended up tying the game and further tortured the people in New England. Let's go back out to Yankee Stadium where Jorge Posada spoke a short time ago.
The way this team responded and came back, Pedro 83-4 when he has a 4-run lead, and somehow you guys didn't give up.
Well, it really doesn't matter what, you know, what is it ugly or pretty? It doesn't matter. You know, you just gotta, you know, find a way of doing it, and you know, we got a lot of character in there. I mean, the guys were unbelievable. The big hit I thought was Matsui's double.
A lot of people think your hit was the big one. What were you thinking in that situation?
I got a fastball in, and you know, he broke my bat, and the ball found the right spot. You know, we found a lot of grass out there, and you know, Matsui got another great base runner. You know, he scored on that, you know, on little chip single.
Just take me inside this dugout. What's going on through this whole game? The emotions.
Well, there's not a whole lot, you know, going on. Just you know, we're pulling for each other. We're trying to, you know, get it done, and you know, Giambi's 2 home runs really kept us in. You know, he really kept us in the game, and he deserves a lot of credit for this win today.
How about Mike stopping the bleeding when he came in?
Yeah, he you know, he came in. He threw some, you know, tough games against them, and you know, got the losses. And today he really came through to, you know, he never done that coming out of the bullpen, and you know, he was pretty good.
Is it fitting?
Jorge Posada, one of those guys getting MVP talk as the season ended, comes through when the Yankees needed him most.
Yeah, it's like you said, in that situation right there, he's going up there to just try to make a good swing on the ball. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, like you said. And he was able to put that ball right in the right spot.
Johnny Damon playing deep enough that ball fell in and tied the game that the Yankees eventually won. Well, there was other sporting action in New York on Thursday night. Not quite the intensity of this one. Rangers and Devils were in action. We'll show you those highlights when we come back.
Rangers home opener at Madison Square Garden, which was sold out against the Atlanta Thrashers, a battle of the goalies. Nice bounce from Mike Dunham there. Bad penalty from Vladimir Malikov. Thrashers star Ilya Kovalchuk stayed in the game, but that was one of 8 Ranger penalties. That's got to stop. Late third period, Rangers on the power play. Boris Mironov, then Jan Hlavec fighting for a rebound, but it's cleared. And the Rangers took a late penalty that gave the Atlanta Thrashers a late power play. 8 seconds to go. Mark Savard's shot is just hit wide. In overtime, Greg DeVries' shot is deflected by Alexei Kovalov. Pasi Nurminen holds on. Dunham makes 30 saves in goal for the New York Rangers, who are still winless on the season, but they do get a point in a 0-0 tie. Pasi Nurminen made 29 saves. At least we know the Ranger penalty killing is okay. Atlanta 0 for 8. The Rangers have gone without a goal now for 157 minutes. Their next game, 6 straight at home against Carolina on Saturday. 7 o'clock start on MSG. John?
All right, Al, across the river to the Jersey side. Every ticket was sold at the Meadowlands as the Devils raised their 3rd championship banner. 4 active players have played on all 3 Cup teams: Scott Stevens, Niedermeyer, Brodeur, and Sergei Brylin. Then 5 minutes into the first, Jay Pandolfo will set up in front as Brian Rafalski takes the wrist shot. Pandolfo with the redeflection. Devils lead at 1-0. They were down 2-1. Final seconds. Watch this. Rafalski down for the point, throws it in front, and there's Brylin. Man on the scene with 2 seconds left. Slips it past Ed Belfour, and that's how it would end, a 2-2 tie. The Devils outshot Toronto 33-14. The Maple Leafs had 1 shot on goal in the 3rd period and overtime. Rafalski assisted on both Devils goals. Scott Stevens played in his 1600th game, only the 6th player to do that. Devils and Leafs tie at 2 at the Meadowlands. We'll have plenty more to come on this edition of the Yankees Sports Desk Special Postgame Report as we continue to relive an epic Game 7.
Back on MSG as we continue on our playoff postgame report, which now moves on to the World Series. Saturday is Game 1, and we will be there after the last out as the Yankees hook up with the Florida Marlins. Game time is set for just after 8 p.m. Saturday at the most historic place in sports. Well, if you've been with us for the past hour, if you were with me, you would have heard Keith Hernandez use the word unbelievable about 37 times, but that really is the operative word. And when you think of what this did, again, to the hearts and minds of the Red Sox fans, you almost think it's getting to the unfair point.
It's just, to me, it's going to set them back another 10 years, and it just seems like everybody that puts the dagger in Boston's heart, it's a New York team, whether it's 86 and the Mets or it's always the Yankees. It's just, I mean, this is just, like I said, I'll say it again, it's unbelievable.
And just like the Cubs, they were 5 outs away. Back to you, John.
Yeah, and just like the Cubs, they had a 3-run lead when they were 5 outs away. And Al and Keith, I'm struck by this. Everybody talks about curse of the Bambino, curse of the Bambino. I think the biggest curse is going to be the name between Aaron and Boone. The way people in Boston refer to Bucky Dent, they throw that curse in there. I think Aaron Boone just earned a new middle name in Boston.
Oh, I had to think so. It's the same type of situation. The guy you wouldn't expect to hit the game-winning home run does it, and it's the same thing Bucky Dent did.
You said you were sitting here, Jimmy, watching this game, and what was going through your mind?
I just couldn't believe it. I was on the phone with one of my buddies back home in Florida. He's a big Red Sox fan, and I talked to him, and he said, "You know what?" He said, "Don't call me till it's over because you never know what's going to happen." And that's how the people from Boston think. And sure enough, the Yankees were able to come back and win this game. And I mean, I got tingles still just by watching that game. That was unbelievable.
Does a game like that make you want to creak up that 39-year-old body and try it again?
The games like this, I definitely give you a little tingle to want to go back and try again. So we'll see what happens.
All right, before I throw it back to Keith and Al, give me a quick 10-second synopsis of what you think for the World Series.
Well, I think you're going to see a great series. The Marlins are playing great right now. They're doing a good job. They've showed their resiliency as far as losing and coming back from being down. The Yankees showed that tonight. I think we're in the thing for a very good World Series. It's probably going to be a little letdown after this series for us and for Yankee fans, but at the same time, it's the World Series, and I think it's going to be a really good series between these two teams.
And Al and Keith, you got to feel good for Jack McKeon at 72, the oldest manager ever to manage in a World World Series game starting Saturday.
52 years in the game, first time to the postseason at the age of 72, doing the greatest thing he's ever done in the game. A lot like Joe Torre said, he never thought he would do his best work in his 50s. How do you see this series?
Well, I think there's a possible potential rain for Saturday. I think both teams have used their starters in relief to get here. They probably both would like to see a rain out. I'm curious to see how the rotation sets up because of the work of the starters in relief, and what lineup Joe Torre is going to bring to Game 1.
Meanwhile, Aaron Boone is on a list that, by the way, of course, includes Jimmy Leyritz. That'll do it for our post-game coverage. The Yankees have survived. They beat the Boston Red Sox in Game 7 with a first-pitch 11th-inning home run by Aaron Boone. When Boone let it fly, it became one of the legendary Yankee home runs in their storied 100-year history. Tim Wakefield had already given his team 2 amazing outings, but Grady Little went to him for the extra innings, and his mistake was a huge one. And the curse of the Bambino lives on. Derek Jeter celebrates like he seems to do every fall the Yankees are going on to the World Series. Pedro Martinez said he was good to go, but that was a fateful mistake in the 8th inning for the Red Sox. Joe Torre let the emotions go, and the champagne flew as well, having bounced between both clubhouses 5 times. Brian Cashman's team moves on to take on the young and fast Florida Marlins. And if you read the Daily News, they knew it all along.
You're watching MSG Sports Desk, presented by Toyota. Get the feeling. Toyota.